Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube? Capital G here, talking about the latest card from Dragons of Legends to be revealed. It's a trap card called Shadow Impulse, and I actually think that it's fairly good. It says, when a Synchro Monster or Monsters you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, target one of those Synchro Monsters. Special summon from your extra deck one Synchro Monster with the same level and type as that monster, but with a different name. You can only activate one Shadow Impulse per turn. So it seems to me like the theme of Dragons of Legends is a bunch of cards you can only use once per turn, because they're starting to put that clause in like every single card that they announce now. Okay, so this is what I call a potentially powerful but balanced card, unlike the shit that we got the other day. At first I saw it and I was like, holy shit, so you're telling me if my Scrap Dragon dies, I can get a Belize or a Stardust or a Void or a Dragon for free? Like, that's fucking broken. But you really have to think about it. Let's not jump the gun on this card. First off, it is a trap, so you do have to set it. It's not like, you know, it's a quick play where you just be able to summon the Synchro like Scrap Dragon and then just ram into a bunch of back row. Your opponent mirror forces, and then it's like you can just activate this and get your free Belize or something like that. And then secondly, it does have to actually be destroyed and go to the graveyard, and I don't think that's what you would call a lock to trigger, like something along the lines of Gear Giant X, you know, which almost always does unless your opponent like 101s it. You know, your opponent can answer with Compose, Deprison. They can have something out like Macro. As I've stated, they can 101 it. There just seems like a bunch of different ways to actually, you know, stop this card from activating. Now, there are two things that I really love about this card. Number one, I like the idea of archetype specific monsters being summoned out of that specific archetype. You know, like being able to summon Infernity Doom Dragon or Darkened Dragon and Light Swarm is just really awesome. Or being able to summon, you know, a Shooting Star Dragon and Heretics using, I don't know, like Debris Dragon or something like that. If your Trident Dragon dies, that just seems really cool to me. The second thing I love about this card is it might actually give us the opportunity to see some cards get summoned that we hardly ever see. I'm talking about throughout this game's history. I mean, imagine how hype it would be if you're watching a duel and, you know, player A goes summon Colossal Fighter, attack. Player B is like Mirror Force. Player A is like, all right, I'm going to flip over Shadow Impulse and I'm going to get Crimson Blade, or I'm going to get, you know, Chevalier de Fleur. Like, when have you ever fucking seen Chevalier de Fleur actually hit the field? Most of you guys are probably going to have to Google that shit or Dueling Network it just to know what I'm even talking about. So I think that this card could definitely see some level of competitive play for no other reason than the fact that it's an instant replacement for your boss monster. You know, granted, you could say, well, I could use things like Call of the Haunted. The problem with that is, you know, your opponent can MSC. Also, you get the same monster back. Being able to go into a more powerful monster, like, you know, going from a Stardust Dragon into a Belize or into a Scrap Dragon, it just seems like a lot cooler. I would say definitely the level 8 Synchro pool is where it's at, and it's pretty obvious right now. I mean, if you look at that on, you know, Dueling Network or, you know, DevPro, it's like there are just a ton of good dragons. There's a ton of good warriors. There's a couple of good machines there. I would say that the best fit for this, off the top of my head, for a competitive level, would probably be Scraps, because Scraps can go into Scrap Dragon very easily. They don't have to sit around and wait for their opponent to blow up Scrap Dragon. They can blow it up themselves. Then they can get a monster back from the Scrap Dragon, and then they can activate this and go into something like Belize. So they're not really losing any advantage at all. So let me know what you guys think of this card. I like it a lot. It's very interesting. This is the type of cards that they should be releasing in Dragons of Legends. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Subscribing makes life happy.